Our topic today will be centered around grounding through yoga and light exercises. We will also talk a little bit about trauma and the correlation between these two. There are different types of yoga exercises that can be used for grounding and light exercises. However, restorative yoga can be used to help heal trauma survivors, and this is because of how it positively impacts the nervous system. This specific type of yoga consists of 5 or 6 poses and is done in tandem with deep breathing and stillness. This allows you to acknowledge, feel, and tolerate the different sensations.
Sometimes the energy from traumatic experiences or memories that have been suppressed may get released during a yoga exercise. Although yoga exercises focus on being still, sometimes the stillness can imitate a trauma response of freeze, which can open up unprocessed arousal energy, which can put the body in high alert and can trigger panic, flashbacks, and other symptoms of excessive nervous system arousal. Bear in mind that although this is relaxing, this has the ability to process these responses.
Also, if after a session of yoga you feel like crying, know that this is okay. The body has released suppressed tension and emotion, and this release can conjure a myriad of emotions that can look different for everyone. It could be anything from tears, laughter, or anger. Remember that trauma impacts your mind, your emotions, and your bodies. And one of the goals of yoga is to reconnect all these pieces. Thank you.
Today's session will be led by Jessi Hoey, YTT Trainer, teacher, and founder of Nirmana Yoga Loft. The biography I'm about to read can be found on nirmanayoga.ca. Jessi stumbled into the practice of yoga as a way to manage IBS and anxiety. She quickly fell in love with the physicality of yoga and began her training in 2013. She had no idea of the depth of philosophy and sacred history that this training would introduce her to, which has completely transformed her life and plunged her into a never-ending journey of self-discovery. She shares the practice of yoga with others as an offering of profound transformation and is excited about seeing her community evolve in consciousness. She teaches from the heart, using her own experience and vulnerability to create a safe space for others to open up to the profound and ineffable mystery of being.
And welcome to this 45-minute practice that is a yoga movement practice designed to calm and soothe the central nervous system. This practice is brought to you by somebody who has spent years with a dysregulated nervous system and has experienced things along the lines of depression and anxiety. And when I learned as a holistic nutritionist and yoga movement specialist that there is a link, a connection from the brain to the gut, and that there's actually tons of breathing techniques and movements that we can do to directly use this nerve, this cranial nerve called the vagus nerve, to communicate with our nervous system. So certain breath techniques and certain body postures are going to essentially stimulate our ability to turn off what we know as fight or flight that dysregulated state of nervous capacity, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Humans were designed to navigate stress, but for very short periods of time, for acute periods of time, to help us flee to safety, and not for the chronic lengths of time that we experience stress today. And so the ability for us to really be in contact with ourselves in this very powerful way that we can turn on parts of our nervous system that are maybe just sitting in the background and haven't really been stimulated appropriately. This is a great tool for us to use day to day. And so I encourage you to take little snippets from this practice. Maybe it's not going to be practical for you to stop, drop, and do a 45-minute practice in the middle of your day. However, some of the breath techniques that we'll practice are going to be great tools. And as you move about your day, your breath is always there. Little principles of movement like twisting and turning and starting to stimulate the abdominals, those are things that you can work into your day. And so please don't think that yoga practice has to be done on a mat in a specific area of the house with specific clothing, not at all. Your yoga practice can be something that you take 30 seconds to breathe and reconnect to yourself, reconnect to your nervous system. So as we move through this practice together, please feel free to pause at any time and just jot down little pieces that maybe you feel really good in your body. In essence, the practice of yoga is actually a practice of self-mastery. That's really what it came to be. And it's evolved a lot since the Eastern yogis of antiquity, who really just practiced a series of rudimentary gym stretches before they would sit for long periods of time in meditation. That's the ultimate goal of the most advanced form of yoga. It has turned into a little bit of a gymnastics practice by the looks of it in the Western world. However, paired with Western science and our ability to identify things such as this cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, the gut-brain connection, our ability to really add modern science to the ancient wisdom of the practice of yoga helps us to extract so much more from it. So welcome to this practice. Find a safe space to sit, whether you are on the floor like I am, or maybe seated in a chair. I want you to be able to move along with me at your own pace. And we'll begin. Place your palms just on top of your knees or your legs. Close your eyes down. Maybe lick your lips and swallow. Just soften any tension that you might be carrying in your jaw and your face. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears, back and down, and start to lengthen your spine. With a tall spine, feel your shoulders just melt away from the ears. Start to connect with your breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. No particular fashion, but perhaps trying to deepen the inhales and slow down the exhales. Notice how it feels to breathe. And in this moment, I want you to just open your awareness to anything else that might be kind of coexisting with you in your practice space, whether it's external noise, whether it's busyness of children running around, whether there's a little bit of clutter in the room or you're in a small space. Anything that could have the potential to distract you, I want you to welcome it into your practice as kind of like a white noise, as a backdrop to what it is that you're doing. It is not realistic for us to wait until the means are absolutely perfect before we can practice. And so we welcome all of the distractions. And therefore, we take away their power to distract us. Allow them to coexist as white noise in the background as we continue to breathe deeper in through the nose and longer out through the nose. So just the simple task of breath awareness is a key point to regulating the nervous system. Watch the breath rise and fall within you. Almost the way that an ocean tide moves. The waves crashing to the shore, the coming and the going of the waves, just like the coming and the going of the breath. You may even start to slightly constrict the back of your throat so that we produce more of an audible exhale through the nose, almost as though we were trying to fog up a pane of glass, but with the mouth closed. This breath will bring you powerfully into the present moment. Follow the sound of your own breath. And as you are continuing to breathe in this way, just notice your shoulders rising and falling as the lungs fill and empty. Let your body move in the way that it wants to move. We'll start to stimulate the center of our body, that vagus nerve, with a little bit of movement for the spine. So keeping your hands placed on your knees, and if at any point in time you become uncomfortable sitting cross-legged, you can come to kneeling, no problem. As you inhale, start to tilt your chin up towards the sky, draw your shoulders down and back, stretch through the front of the neck, open your heart, and squeeze your shoulder blades together. As you exhale, bring your chin to your chest, round your spine. So you're looking for contrast in your movements. Inhaling to open the heart, settle the shoulders down the back. Exhale, sit back into your sit bones and bring your chin to your chest. And just keep moving like this with your ocean wave breath. In and out through the nose. Inhaling as if you're coming up for air, opening the heart, shoulders down. And exhaling, sitting back, rounding the spine. Continuing these movements in and out through the nose. You might feel so inclined to add on to these movements here a little bit. Perhaps the next time that we inhale, the shoulders roll back, the chin tilts high. Maybe as we exhale, we start to lean towards the right, rounding the spine towards the back, chin to the chest. On our next inhale, we might move left, coming up for air, opening the heart forward and center. And exhale, shifting right, rounding the spine, making our way back into that cat posture. So breathing, however you like, there's really no right or wrong way. What I want you to think about as you're breathing in this way is that you're just looking for contrast for the spine. So I want you to explore the way that the spine moves, left and right, forward and back, pairing this movement with your breath. And perhaps with your deeper intention of regulating the nervous system, of connecting in a very deep and powerful, potent way with the inner workings of your body. These movements in this breath can be an empowering way for you to start to really take command of the way that your body works instead of living in fear of the reactions of the body. And we step into empowerment. The next time that you rise up for that inhale, maybe we start to shift to the left as we exhale, rounding the spine, coming through center, and then inhaling To the right, opening up that heart, lifting the chin. And exhale, making those little circles if you're making them. Perhaps you're still just moving up and down with the spine. And again, there's no wrong movements, but I want you to start to just really allow the body to explore the safety of your own experience. Your eyes closed might also help for you to drop inwards. We'll take just a few more rounds of breath here. Just getting the blood flowing in that central part of the body. Then on your next inhale, let's rise all the way upright. Nice tall spine, lifting your shoulders up, back, and down. Taking a deep breath in. And this time, let's slide out through the mouth. Twice more like that. Breathe in. And let it all go. Feel free to make some noise. Breathe in. And let it go. Starting to blink the eyes open. We'll just walk the hands slightly forward and we'll make our way onto all fours, taking our knees directly underneath our hips and our wrists directly underneath our shoulders. And we're going to explore the same movements here, but with a different posture. Toes tucked behind you. As you inhale, lift your tailbone, drop your belly low, draw your shoulders back, opening the heart. And as you exhale, tuck the tail, bring the chin to the chest, round the spine, press the mat away, press the ground away. Inhaling to lift and open the heart, the chest, the shoulders. And exhale to round the spine. Moving 3 more times in this way. Deeper, wider, taller breaths as they travel through your nose, down the length of your spine, and back up again as you exhale. Just follow the breath, dropping our awareness to something that happens so naturally, so automatically. Just follow the breath. Turning inwards. Bringing the mind into one pointed awareness, which is the goal of yoga. On your next inhale, find a flat back, something neutral. And we'll shift the hips over to the right side. Start to look over your right shoulder as if you're trying to bring your right shoulder towards your right hip. It will probably never make it. And as we exhale, straight back up again. Inhale here. Exhale, shift your hips over to the left. Shift with your left shoulder. Pressing into that right hand to send your left shoulder towards the left side. Inhale, straighten up. And exhale to the right. Just taking a few of these movements here, stimulating the center of the body. So this is where our gut-brain connection takes place. Keep moving with your breath. Inhaling to bring you center, exhaling to shift your hips and shoulders to one side. And as we stimulate and wake up the core in this way, we're waking up that relationship, that connection in a very conscious, very mindful way. Let's take one more round, inhaling to straighten. Exhaling, shifting hips and shoulders to the same sides. Inhaling to straighten. And exhaling to shift to the same side. Come right back through center. From here, we're going to sit our hips back towards our heels. Walk the hands about 1 hand length forward. And then start to lift up the knees and find your way into your first downward facing dog. Now this, for many people, is not a very comfortable place to rest. The legs
You might need to stay bent. The goal is not to have straight legs. So the legs can stay bent, but we want to send the hips back towards the heels. Almost as though there's a sensation like we're reaching for something on the top shelf. We're pressing the hands so that we can send the hips back. You might bend one knee a little deeper than the other, maybe find some movement here just to wake up the backs of the legs. And then as you inhale next, we'll start to look forward and tiptoe the feet to the top of the mat. Let the knees bend generously as you arrive. A forward fold is not really about keeping a straight leg. It's more about having a connection where you're hinging from your hip crease. So see if you can bring your whole belly and your chest onto your thighs. So belly and ribs make connection with the tops of the legs. That might mean the knees need to be super bent here. That's okay. Let the crown of your head extend down towards the sky. You might lift and lower the hips a few times just to invite a little bit of extra space. When you're ready, we're going to start to plant the hands down and step back with our left foot. So we're coming into a little bit of a lunge. You may have to wiggle your left toes nice and long behind you. Maybe you wiggle your right foot forward so that it comes underneath your knee. And then let's bring that left knee right down. Okay? We're going to keep the left hand down on the mat, on the floor, on the inside of that right leg. And as we inhale, reach that right arm up. Find a twist here. Your left toes can be tucked or they can be untucked, whatever helps you feel more balanced. And then we're going to come in and out of this twist. So as we exhale, bring your right hand down towards the ground. Inhale, sweep it up towards the sky. Exhale to lower. And inhale to lift. If lifting this arm doesn't feel good for the shoulder, bring the hands to the hips. And then exhale, bring the shoulder to the knee. So find your own variation, something that makes sense for your body. We always want to meet the body where it's at. The idea with this posture, though, is that we're starting to stimulate that vagus nerve, that connection to the nervous system, just through twists. So some of the major ways that we can activate this is through breath, through twists, and through abdominal core work, which we get a little bit of built into the practice of yoga. Let's take one more deep breath in. And then as we exhale, let's bring both hands back down towards the mat. We're going to tuck the left toes, press into the right foot, and see if we can sweep the arms to the sky. Exhale, pull the hands together at the heart. Take a deep breath in, lengthen your spine, soften your shoulders down away from your ears. Keep your thumb connected to your heart, and then maintaining that connection. On the next exhale, we'll start to twist. The whole heart comes with us. So we don't want to move the hands beyond the chest. Keep that connection. And breathe. In and out through the nose. Maybe the eyes closed, although this will make balance a little more tricky. Keep softening your shoulders away from your ears. In and out through your nose. Think of your breath moving deeper, wider, and taller through the body. Take a nice deep breath in. Then exhale, straighten up the torso. Place the hands down, and we're going to lift the back knee and step forward, back into that forward fold. Let your knees bend generously. Bring your belly down to rest on top of your thighs. Take a few breaths here. And then when you're ready, we're going to bend into the knees and step the right foot back. Okay, wiggling those right toes long behind you, maybe wiggling the left heel forward. And we'll bring that right knee right down to the mat, right down to the ground. And your right hand, you can stay on your fist, on your fingertips, or on your palm. Maybe you have a book under your hands or something of that nature, just to bring the ground a little higher up. And then we'll inhale to sweep that left arm to the sky. Finding a twist, we want to focus on opening the shoulders, like we could stack the shoulders one on top of another in a nice long straight line. Twisting through the torso. And then maintaining the depth of the breath while we're twisting is where a lot of that magic begins, that communication with the vagus nerve, with the gut-brain connection, with our nervous system. In and out through the nose, and as we exhale, we'll sweep that left hand back down. Inhale to lift it back up. So just moving in and out of our twist. You might close your eyes and just follow the rhythm of your own breath. This is about embodiment, so dropping inwards instead of relying on external instruction, learning how to trust ourselves. Again, if this feels like it's too much for the shoulder, the hand can come onto the hips, and we're just opening and closing that shoulder without the arm involved. Taking your own modifications to suit your body. Let's find 3 more little movements here, those twists, opening and closing the shoulders. And we'll bring both hands down towards the ground. Back toes are tucked here to help us inhale. Sweep the arms up towards the sky. And as we exhale, pull them down towards the heart. So again, we want to keep the thumb connected to the chest. See if you can let your hips shift forward. Keeping the back toes tucked is going to help you feel more balanced. If you want a challenge, untuck your back toes. Take a deep breath in to lengthen your spine. Soften your shoulders down away from the ears, and then exhale, twist towards that left leg. It's going to feel a little challenging. Breathe into it anyways. Trust your body. Trust that these movements are beneficial for you, that this challenge is serving you. In and out through the nose. Let's take a nice deep breath in. And exhale to unwind, placing the hands down. Now we're going to bring the left knee back beside the right. Let's take the knees nice and wide, the toes together to touch, and start to sink the hips back towards the heels, reaching the palms forward. Now, child's pose is not always a posture that feels super accessible or super good in everybody's body. So if you are feeling like it's too much of a bend to your knees, you can keep your hips lifted. You can also roll up a towel or a blanket and just tuck it behind the knees, and that will help to absorb some of the extra tension that we might feel in the knees. Take some time here to maybe rock left and right, pressing into one shin and swaying to one side. Just finding a little bit of embodied movement flowing with your breath. We're going to learn one additional breath technique towards the end of our time together. And so in the meantime, continuing with that ocean sounding breath, that breath that is a little bit more audible coming out through the nose. Using that breath almost like a rhythm for your own movements, but also to keep you focused. As you inhale, look forward towards your hands and come right up onto your fingertips. So your whole arms, wrists, and forearms are lifted. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, walk all fingers over to the right hand side. And then start to fold here into your child's pose. Breathe in and out through the nose. We won't stay here for long. You can come down to the palms if that feels a little bit more accessible. In and out through the nose. Listen for that ocean sounding breath. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, lift your gaze, start to walk your fingertips back to center. Pause for a big breath in. And then exhale, walk hands over to the left side. Finding that comfortable edge and then just folding here, relaxing the body down. Maybe the palms come down towards the mat. Finding your breath. In and out through the nose. Listening for that audible exhale. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale, look up, walk the hands back through center, and then let's walk them nice and close to the knees. We'll start to bring the knees together and just shift the hips to one side so that we can extend the legs forward. Remove any extra flesh that you might have kind of in between your sit bones and the earth, so you can come nice and flat onto the ground. Now, we're going to bend into our right knee and step the sole of the right foot to the outside of the left leg. If this does not feel comfortable, keep it on the inside, that's all right. Then we're going to take the left arm and hug that right leg in nice and close, taking the right hand just behind the hips. We'll take a deep breath in, look towards your left toe, see if you can flex through the left ankle. You might even have to bend into the left knee a little bit, that's okay too. Inhale, lift and lengthen your spine. Find the tallest spine that you can. Feel your sit bones growing down into the earth and the crown of your head extending up towards the sky. Use your left hand to pull that right leg nice and close to you for a big, safe hug. And then as you exhale, ground down into your sit bones and start to twist through the base of your spine first. Gradually, slowly, without any rush, you might eventually start to look over the right shoulder. So I want you to think of this almost like we're wringing out the spine. Now, in order to breathe while we're twisted, we have to allow the spine to kind of unravel just a little bit on the inhale. So feel the breath move through you on the inhale. Breathe deeply. Allow the body to unwind a little. And then exhale, twist. So we're just ebbing and flowing with the breath, wringing out the spinal column. Stimulating that vagus nerve, that connection with our nervous system. In and out through the nose. Stay nice and tall with the spine. And follow the flow of your breath. Listening for those ocean sounding exhales. Take a nice deep breath in. And this time as you exhale, look forward and start to unwind. We'll take that right leg, uncross it, straighten it out, maybe give the legs a little bit of a shake. Reset the hips, so removing that extra flesh. And then bend into your left knee and step the sole of that left foot maybe to the outside of the right thigh. The right hand now is going to gather that left leg, hold it nice and close, and the left hand comes behind us. Keep your gaze towards your right foot for just a moment, and really feel into the sit bones. You're grounding down into the earth. Inhale, grow the spine long and tall. Feel the crown of the head extend towards the sky. Soften your shoulders down away from your ears. And on your next exhale, twist from the base of your spine first. Really ground down into your sit bones and start to feel your waist and your low back. Ringing up all the way through the middle spine where the ribs connect, and eventually over that left shoulder. There's no rush, there's no need to rush. But let's explore the breath in this twisted position. Inhale fully, let the body unravel as it needs to receive the breath. And then exhale, ring out, twist deeper. flowing with your breath in this way, staying mindful to the sound of the breath, just following it through the body. It's so rare in this world that, especially as women, we do one thing. We are so often multitasking, doing a million things at once. And so just bringing your mind into this one pointed awareness, follow the breath in and out. Even though it may seem simple, this is the key to unlocking our access to the nervous system, really regaining balance and equilibrium. Take just another 3 breaths here, ebbing and flowing, unraveling and wringing out that spine. Nice deep breath in. Now exhale to come forward. Release that left leg. A little bit of a shake. We're going to come into a cross-legged position. I want to show you one breath technique before we come all the way down onto our backs. And please know that any of these postures, these can be done just in isolation. These little twists are a great example of ways that we can start to stimulate not only really beneficial things like our digestion, which actually has a huge relationship to our mood, but also this gut-brain connection where we are able to remind the nervous system, hey, I'm not running for my life, so perhaps we could settle into rest and repair. That's the parasympathetic nervous function. Okay, so this breath technique is one that is aiming to balance both left and right hemisphere of the brain. And it seems a little bit strange, but it's a really great focus for us. Now, I would recommend that if you feel a little bit congested in your sinuses, that you pause the video, go blow your nose, and then come back and press play. We're going to start with the right hand. Classically in India, they always use the right hand. We never use the left hand. We live in the Western world, so if you feel more comfortable with the left hand, that is okay. We're going to bring the thumb and index finger in towards the palm of the hand, into the base of the thumb. That can feel a little bit strange, so please know that you can alternatively use those 2 fingers and place them at your third eye. If you are wanting to maybe stimulate a deeper insight, a deeper sense of knowing, a deeper internal wisdom and guidance from your higher self, that's another position for those 2 fingers. I'm going to pull them in just so you can see clearly. Then we've got the, third finger and the pinky. And we're going to place those ones to block our left nostril. The thumb blocks the right nostril. So we're moving through what's called Nadi Shodhana, or alternate nostril breathing. Okay, so these 2 kind of little pinchers are what's going to block the very top. So not quite like the lower nostril, but right at the very top, the bridge of the nose, right where we start to kind of feel that the airflow. Okay, so we'll start by blocking the left side. Lengthen your spine. Notice how sometimes when we're using the right hand, we can kind of pull the chin towards the right. Let's see if we can center the neck so that it's nice and straight. Lengthen the spine. Block through that left nostril. You can close the eyes here if you like. Soften the jaw. Inhale through your right nostril. And then block the right, hold the breath at the top. And release the left nostril to exhale. Inhale through the left. Block the left, hold at the top. And release the right nostril to exhale. Okay, so inhaling through the right. Blocking and switching, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Block and exhale through the right. Keep moving in this way. Alternating the nostrils. And as you're breathing in this way, follow your own rhythm. Follow the speed and the pace and the quality of your breath. In yoga philosophy, we believe that we are balancing both polar sides of the body, the sun and moon sides, the dark and light sides, the feminine and masculine sides. This idea of finding balance is really what brings us into a more balanced state of being, a place where we can really root down into peace.
That on one side, we have our ability to take action, to make things happen, to really be moving forward in the world. And on the other side, we have this soft gentleness. We have this nurturer, this ability to see maybe a bigger picture, maybe an underlying issue, the ability to receive and to nurture and self-care and self-love. And so balancing the breath, balancing the brain, and balancing these opposing energies within us. We can't be all one thing. Otherwise, we start to find ourselves in a little bit of an imbalance. Notice where you are with your breath, alternating the nostrils. And to keep things even, we're going to end by breathing out through the right nostril. So when you are completing your cycle, you'll breathe out through the right nostril. And place your right hand down on top of your right knee. Breathe in and out through the nose, feel your spine lengthen. Breathing through both nostrils now, relaxing the shoulders down away from the ears. So 2 different breath techniques. In the practice of Zen, which is another Eastern belief, they follow the breath. So a way of just taking the ordinary breath without having to change it or anything, they just bring their awareness to the breath. And every time that they're breathing in, they repeat silently to themselves, breathing in. And every time that they are exhaling, they repeat silently to themselves, breathing out. And it's just this way of staying mindful, of staying focused, so that the nervous system or external phenomena don't carry us away into reactivity. When you're ready, we're going to come all the way down onto our backs. So finding your way onto your back. If you're at home and you've got some comfortable things surrounding you, then feel free to grab blankets and pillows and all of the things that make you feel safe and warm and cozy. And we'll come all the way down to the back. Now I want to show you a series of these postures because you can do them with a lot of activity, like some of the standing postures that we did earlier, or you can do them when you're literally lying in bed and just needing a moment to reconnect with yourself. So from here, we're going to pull both knees into the belly for a nice big hug and interlace the hands over top. Just rock and roll side to side along the base of the spine. And it's a really great practice to just kind of tune in here. What does it feel like to exist in my body in this moment? And we don't want to allow judgment. We want to allow playful curiosity. There's enough judgment in the world. We don't have to look at ourselves with such scrutiny. Instead, what does it feel like? In fact, the practice of yoga is very much about sort of disidentifying with the body. The practice of yoga sees that the body is this useful instrument, but it's not the sum totality of who and what we are, that there is something more, something deeper, something untouchable inside. And so when we can look at the body in this way, especially in a culture of really toxic body image, when we can start to look at the body as if it is separate from the self, it becomes a little bit of a different experience. So instead of the judgments that might come along with how we look at ourselves, maybe we can look at ourselves and say, wow, instead of the right hip is feeling a little tight. The left glute is feeling a little sore. So just a new way of starting to look at the body. When you're ready, we're going to interlace the hands around the top of the right shin. Extend your left leg nice and long. Pull that right knee in for a nice big hug. Maybe even take it a little bit left and a little bit right. Just finding some soft and gentle movement here, feeling into all of the sensations that come into your awareness. We'll take the right shin into the left hand
And then the right arm is going to come either out to the right side or just up overhead. We just want to make sure that we can keep that right shoulder planted firmly on the mat. Take a deep breath in, fill your entire spine. And as you exhale, start to draw your right leg over to the left using your left hand. Your right hip might lift right up off the ground. And maybe you start to turn your chin towards that right shoulder. So staying grounded with that right shoulder. Maybe the right knee kind of floats and hangs. Maybe we bring the left toes to the ground, or the right toes rather. Or the sole of the right foot can actually come on top of the left thigh. Find your breath here. It can be helpful to keep your left hand to the outside of your right knee. And then breathe into this twisted torso. In and out through the nose. Relaxing thought, relaxing tension. Check in with your jaw, the muscles of your face. Lick your lips and swallow. Just soften, surrender, release. Breathe. Allow the mind to just do one thing. We don't have to do all of the things in every single moment. Just be present to the breath and to the sensations of the body. That is enough. Rest is productive. Taking time for our own well-being is productive. It's one of the most productive things that we can do. Especially as women who are often in roles to serve others. Our families, our children. We often find ourselves as caretakers, even in our careers, in our jobs. Filling our own cups first is one of the most selfless things that we can do so that we have a greater capacity from which to give. Take a deep breath in. Then exhale, unwind. Start to pull the left knee in to join the right. Take a moment to reset. How does the body feel right now? Rock left and right. Just feel into any shifts or changes or just anything that there is to notice. What does it feel like to exist in this body, in this moment? Then we'll interlace the hands over top of the left and extend that right leg nice and long. Pull that left leg in nice and close. Maybe a little to the left, a little to the right. Just finding a little bit of feedback, a little bit of mobility for the hips. And when you're ready, we'll take the left shin into the right hand. Left arm comes out to the left side or up and overhead, just making sure we keep that shoulder grounded. When you're ready, on an exhale, we'll start to twist. So that left knee is drawn over to the right side. The hip may lift right up. And the chin may tilt over to the left shoulder. And we can allow the leg to just kind of float in space. Maybe the sole of that left foot comes down on top of the right thigh. Maybe the toes come down towards the ground. Just breathing wherever you are, seeing if you can soften, surrender, release. Notice if some of the parts of your body are protesting. And they protest through clenching, through holding, through getting stiff and rigid. See if we can surrender. Learn to trust ourselves. Learn to listen to the language of the body. We don't want to push ourselves ever into pain, but we do want to explore the very edges of our comfort zone so that we can expand our comfort zone. Breathe in and out through the nose. Learning to trust ourselves makes ourselves a safe space. And that's important. This is a beautiful thing that we can teach our children, how to become safe, even when there's chaos all around us. Breathe deeply in and out through the nose. Follow that breath. Relax the whole body around the coming and the going of the breath. There's nothing else that you need to do or achieve in this moment. Just be. Take 3 more breaths here. As you find yourself exhaling for the third time, just unwind. Bring both knees in for a big hug. Find any and all movement that feels necessary, making little circles maybe for the hips. I want to show you one last final amazing way to regulate your nervous system. Now, if you are close to a wall, you can definitely do this up against a wall. If you have a pillow or a couple pillows that you'd like to place underneath your hips in order to elevate your hips, that can be nice as well. But I'm just going to show you the basics. So all I need you to do from here is just extend your legs and your arms towards the sky. You'll start to rotate through wrists and ankles. This can feel a little bit uncomfortable when the backs of the legs are tight, so feel free to bring your hands just to support the backs of the legs. Feel free to bend your knees deeply here if we need to. The goal is that we're elevating our extremities above the heart. So we've talked about how breath work can communicate with our nervous system. We've talked about how twisting and stimulating our abdominals can communicate with the vagus nerve that communicates with the nervous system. This posture right here, especially at the end of our yoga practice when our pulse is low, our heart rate is low, our breath is deep, this is a very primal form of communication. So as we know, we are wired for fight or flight, right? That's our stress response. So when the body is experiencing stress of any kind, it puts us into survival mode. So your body doesn't know the difference between sitting in traffic and actually running for your life. We run these survival mechanisms just the same. And what happens in our life is sometimes we have experiences where we're kind of stuck in these freeze moments, we're stuck in these survival instincts, and it's very, very difficult to turn off that response. So as we learn to make our bodies a safe place to be, as we learn to communicate through breath and through movement, this right here communicates to the body that in this moment, there is no way that you could be running for your life, because your limbs would not be inverted if you were in danger. So this is a very primal way that even when we can't get our mind on board, that our mind is running to and fro, and it's really hard to follow the breath, and it's really difficult to kind of talk ourselves into the moment. This here, stop, drop, and throw your limbs in the air. This is a beautiful way to communicate to your body, you are not running for your life, you're safe. And in holding this posture a little longer, you may start to by now feel a little bit of blood flow draining from the limbs and maybe some tingling into your fingers and toes. This is the body's ability to recognize that you are safe and start to turn on the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, I'm not saying that this is really a practical thing to do anywhere, perhaps not at work, perhaps not at the grocery store. However, I want you to know that this is a really good tool that you can have in your back pocket, that when you're not able to talk the mind into that one pointed awareness, when the breath work just doesn't seem to cut it, this is a beautiful posture to start to bring yourself back into balance, back into rest and repair. You're welcome to stay here as long as you like. I recommend before bed, even first thing in the morning, to set your nervous system upright. Spend some time like this. Maybe you come up against a wall so that your legs can rest up against the wall. The arms you can add if you like, or we can just wrap them around ourselves for a nice big hug. And this is just a beautiful way to spend some time in a very mindful way, focusing on our breath, just being in the present moment, where no matter what else is going on around you, we can breathe ourselves, move ourselves into inner safety. You're welcome to spend more time like this with your legs in the air. You're welcome to find a Shavasana, which is really just kind of a final resting pose at the end of your movement. A time for you to integrate, a time for you to be in silence with yourself. Make yourself comfortable. I will leave you to rest for as long as you'd like to. Thank you so much for taking the time for yourself and for really moving your body in this nourishing, nutritional way.
let these be tools that you can come back to as often as you need them, as we learn how to reconnect and communicate with our bodies. So the ability to regulate and create safety within, in my being, honors and vows your ability to self-regulate and create safety within. Namaste.